reflective of the fact that we've designed a global capitalist system that is ultimately premised on the American consumer. And across class,
Just like,
as far as I'm aware, exactly. Americans consume a lot. We eat a lot. We use, I believe, 17% of the world's energy. And so I do think that literally global capitalism is to some degree dependent on the narcoleptic American consumer across classes. Obviously, I'm not just talking about the leisure class of sort of the middle classes or the upper classes, but people play video games across classes, even if they work a ton. It's one of the most popular forms of entertainment. It might be one of the last unifying monocultural parts of our culture is that everyone plays video games and oftentimes the same video games,
or at least streams movies and TV shows and in a continuous loop. I mean, the sort of binge watching culture it is different, and at the same time, I remember like the sort of like cultural progressives in the 90s were always like, turn off your TV, the sort of like that notion of being like the couch potato, the slack-jawed American consumer. I'm thinking about like WALL-E, like the opening of that movie is just like a bunch of like people shoving snacks in their mouths while they're watching streaming content, right?
Yeah, it was called the idiot box. I do think, though, this third industrial revolution, or fourth, depending on who you ask, but this industrial revolution, this is what I come back to. In the last 4 years, human beings have produced more information than the previous entirety of human existence.
Right.
Which I believe is the correct statistic. If it's not that exactly, it's close. That is an epochal shift.
We're cranking content like never before.
That is a qualitative shift, in my opinion. Of the sort of narcotizing elements of popular culture, which were always a critique going back to Adorno. With Adorno, there's a lot of other elements in that critique of sort of ideas about race and identity and culture and blah blah blah. But the quality, in terms of medium and message, right? If you think of the medium of television in 1950 and what television is in 2021, they're almost not the same thing. Beside the fact that they deliver stories to you on a screen.
Right.
In every other medium, they're incredibly different. And that's a big shift in terms of availability, in terms of networks of distribution, in terms of quality of content, in terms of quantity of content, in terms of how that content is delivered, of the expense of the content. Very interesting.
And also we're producing the content, right? Like the people are producing content and that's being monetized instantly. I mean, the sort of the Israeli-Palestine conflict is being captured on live streams and monetized instantly, right? Like this is like the content to me, like that. Those intersections are crazy. Like that stuff is when you're sitting there, like sort of flipping through Twitter and seeing like or whatever social media platform you're using, and you're seeing like a streaming Call of Duty ad followed by a live stream of like bombs going off in Israel and like to me, like that's a really weird sort of glimpse of the funhouse that we're in.
You know what I would say? In both of those cases, Americans are shielded from consequence, right? In both of those cases, the American is serving as a consumer, is acting as a consumer. Whether that consumption is of a video game or is that consumption of incredible, terrible violence that's happening in Israel-Palestine right now.